Hey, Chris,
Hey, Rod, what's up?
I got a question for you.
Oh, yeah, what's that?
What do you do when shit happens?
Ooh, it's a good question. Lucky enough, I think we're going to find out on this episode.
Hey, this is Rod.
And this is Chris.
We are Unqualified
And Unsupervised.
the show where two guys try to figure out life after loss with no experts, no scripts, just experience.
We're going to have the unfiltered conversations about hard topics that no one wants to talk about, but everyone should. Coming from a couple of guys who were forced to join a club we didn't want to join. Rod, all right, so how was your week this week?
It was pretty interesting.
Again? You always
yeah.
have interesting weeks.
Well, so do you, I think.
Sometimes.
Okay, so today my anecdotal story helped with a funeral service today.
Okay.
And after the burial and everything, we were leaving and I was driving the limousine. I had the pallbearers.
Ooh, you get to be the chauffeur.
I got to be the chauffeur. Yeah, it's pretty
Nice.
cool.
Did you wear the little hat and everything?
No hat.
No,
No
you
hat.
didn't wear the hat? Okay.
It's a little less formal than that.
Gotcha.
So we got in the car and kind of brought up the subject of meeting people, and I said, well, the best opening line ever is
Hey, what are you doing in a place like this?
no.
I suppose that's not a great line at
It's
a
really
funeral.
old, and you can dust the mold off of it. Scrape the mold.
Yeah. And at a funeral, you pretty much know why they're there.
Well, this was okay, I'm gonna go back.
Okay.
When I'm working with pallbearers, and we're working with particularly maybe a heavy person.
Yeah.
And today the casket was a casket from Piasta. The monks had made it.
Oh, so it's
And
good and solid.
It's very solid, but they're heavier. And
Sure.
and the deceased person was rather heavy too. So I like to position the pallbearers accordingly, and especially if I've got young 20-somethings, I usually put them at the thoracic end of the casket. It's heavier.
Right.
So I usually ask them, what do you bench, just kind of as a joke. So today, getting back into the car, I said the best opening line, if you want to meet anybody, is, what do you bench? And they laughed at me. They laughed at me. All right. So I'm going to go back a couple of years. And I was having dinner with a funeral director after a service. And he was single, and he was enamored of the waitress. And I said, well, just ask her what she benches. And he's like, what? Ask her what she benches.
Sure, that'll be funny either way.
Well, okay, so she comes by and, excuse me, miss, I said, my friend and I were just kind of talking, like, we want to know, what do you bench? She lit right up. She talked for 15 minutes.
Oh, God.
I haven't been in the gym, The last time I benched was 135. Why it works is because it suggests that the person is fit. That
Sure.
they look athletic.
Right.
They're very good looking. So it works on men and women.
That makes sense.
So
But I suppose you get a cool answer either way. Well, either they do bench and you get a number, or they don't.
Or they don't. They get like, geez, I don't know what I bench. It's been a long time. It opens the conversation. It leads you to other things.
Right. It opens it in a positive way.
Right. So anyway, what do you bench? You want to meet somebody?
So you're trying to meet pallbearers at somebody's funeral.
Well, not quite. He was.
I mean, that's kind of what you did.
Well, no. This kid was a college kid. Goes to ISU, studying engineering.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice looking young man. But no.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. There have been some services where I've made a point of walking up to certain people. Yeah. I'm not. Well, I mean, I'm not dead, and it's they're
Well,
good
no, you're not the one dead.
right, but they're good-looking people, and I just kind of
Okay. All right then.
Okay, am I the only one with the word whore going through his brain right now?
I wasn't gonna say it, but
the door was open, so
when the window's open, you got to go through. I guess.
Jeez, I guess. So, what have you been up to this week?
Mostly training. I've got next month. I've got my first. Actually, just a few weeks, for God's sakes.
Just a couple weeks.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. My first triathlon. So, everything's getting longer.
Wait a minute.
Taking longer, and
It's your first triathlon?
of the season.
Of the season.
Yeah.
'Cause I was going to say, you've done triathlons
I've done a few before, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but the first one of the season, and that means I'm like only a couple months away from the Omaha Ironman. So
Oh, okay. Okay. So what's the difference between a triathlon and an Ironman?
branding mostly.
But aren't the distances different?
Well, all triathlons are different. Distances are different. There's sprint triathlons, which are shorter, Olympic, a little longer. You've got the Ironman 70.3, which is a half Ironman. Then you've got the Ironman full. So
so it's about distances.
yes.
All right.
Yes.
But didn't the Ironman originate? Wasn't it in Hawaii? I remember growing up.
There's a whole big story about how a couple people got together to see which athletes were the strongest, the swimmers, the bikers, or the runners. And
okay.
so they did all three to see who was the strongest. And I have no idea how that came out, other than now I'm doing one.
Well, no, it made me think of my childhood growing up, a Wide World of Sports, ABC on Saturday afternoon. And you would see that, that's what they did.
They'd cover the Kona championships.
Yeah.
Well, the championships in Kona.
At the time, that just seemed outrageous, but more and more people are doing it. It's really quite doable.
It is. As with everything, it's about the work, not being special or athletic or anything.
Right.
You set a goal, and then you find somebody to help you figure out what you have to do to get from where you're at to that goal so that you can finish. So I was lucky enough to find a coach who's helped me, and I just do whatever he tells me to do every day.
Oh, I didn't know you had a coach.
Yep, I do.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Carson Christensen, he's
okay. He's put a plug in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
And where can we find Carson?
Yep, Torden Multisport.
Okay.
The dude's awesome. I would never been able to do the Louisville Ironman if it hadn't been for him. And it's just about doing the work, showing up, and doing the work.
Right.
And so this past week has been long swims, long bikes, long rides, and what I say is long, other people are like, "You big baby," and other people are like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you're doing that."
Right, because you're in the water a lot. I
did my first 3,000 meter swim at a sub 2 minute pace.
Oh,
the other day, so
that is good.
I'm real proud of that. Like, I'm not fast according to most competitors, but for me, that's a huge step in the right direction.
It's about improvement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had a 3-hour bike ride yesterday. I did an hour run today.
Wow.
So it's plus the lifting and trying not to eat like crap. And
what's your nutrition? Because I said something about going for burgers, and you said no, not today.
I just didn't have time today. I'll eat burgers.
Okay. I didn't know if they were on your diet.
I try to focus on protein, and I try to focus on my carbs coming from vegetables rather than, pasta or bread. But I do eat those things too, somewhat.
Rice?
Sometimes. I just don't really. I'm not good at making rice, so.
It's tricky.
A lot of chicken, a lot of vegetables.
Yep.
I eat Greek yogurt, maybe with a little honey in it. Stuff like that.
You asked what I did this week. I discovered that vanilla protein powder and cottage cheese.
Oh.
No. Not
good?
No. Just trust me on this one. Not a great combination.
Yeah,
when you said yogurt, I've added protein powder to yogurt.
Oh.
But I've never
done that.
Well, but I was in a hurry. I wanted to eat something. It was after my workout, and that's what I did.
Okay.
Never to do that again.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever put protein powder in anything, but like when I've mixed it with some water and used it, and I don't use a ton of it because I try to get my nutrition from food and not from supplements and extra stuff.
Right. And supplements are controversial.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure they help some people and they don't help others. I don't know. I just don't use them. I just eat a lot of chicken and a lot of vegetables.
Protein powder in yogurt does work.
I would think so.
I'll do that because it's vanilla yogurt, vanilla powder. It works.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. All right.
So let's launch into this subject today. What happens when shit happens?
Right. Well, number one, I think you do what we're doing right now is you punt.
Okay.
That's kind of what's happened. Yeah. Our guest for this show had some shit happen and wasn't able to make the interview. So we're going to punt and go on ahead and figure it out on our own.
But we get that guest another time though?
Yes. Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Okay.
Getting rescheduled. It'll be a great guest. A hospice nurse, in fact.
Cool.
So
that'll be good.
Yeah. We'll get that rescheduled and we'll go from there. But so now we got to figure out what to do when shit happens.
Well,
And so-
I think you're probably an expert at that.
why do you
I don't
say
know.
that?
I just think that because of all the diversity of things you've gone through, you've had to punt a lot, and you've gone through a lot of shit.
Yeah,
And that's why I think.
that's true.
And your eyes are brown.
Well, they are. Well,
So are mine.
no browner than yours.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, so no, we're full of
Yep.
shit's always happening around me.
Yep. But how do you handle it?
Better than I used to. I used to kind of freak out and be like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And and all of that. And I think a lot of people do. And anymore, I'm just like, well, shit happens. Oh well, I'll figure something else out. And I just pivot and turn around and go another direction. Which is one of the things you learn in business is you start working on your business plan, and all of a sudden you're finding out maybe this idea wasn't that good. It's not quite going to get where I want to go, but there's still parts of it that are good. So you pivot and you start going in another direction and kind of figure it out and go from there. So that's kind of what we're doing today.
Do you think your age has something to do with it? Like the more experiences you have as you grow older.
Oh, absolutely.
What bothered you, like the things that bother me now did not bother me in my 50s, did not bother me in my 40s. It's like when I got into my 30s, the 20s went away. When I got, then as I progressed, the things that I concern myself with today are so different than 30 years ago or 40 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't even know if it's so much a product of age as just a product of experience.
Right.
The more life experiences you've had, especially negative ones or loss or anything else, it really kind of teaches you not to dwell on the shit as it's trickling down the walls. Like, just get a mop and clean it up.
There's a visual.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so in the punting aspect of this, I remember earlier when you said, "Hey, our guest is not going to be able to do it," and I suggested, "Why don't we cover a couple subjects that are on our list that we want to cover?" And I'm going to walk you right into it. When we first started talking about doing this, you had done a lot of, I don't know, maybe work. It maybe isn't the right word for it, but you'd experienced that it's okay not to be okay.
Yes,
and that was a real strong theme with you because of what you'd gone through with Janice and her sickness and that kind of thing.
Right.
So that's we're going to do that. We're going to address that, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes. And we're going to do that right now, aren't we?
We can. we can.
No.
Because
I just thought I heard another question in your voice there.
No, the other
direction there.
No, the other thing is my aspect of it is going through what I did. Don't touch me.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we need to address that. Not everybody wants to be touched.
Right.
Especially in a moment of like crisis or
right. You don't need to be hugged right away.
Right.
You need a little bit of space to process.
Right.
So to speak. So but yeah, let's talk about it's okay to not be okay.
What led up to that epiphany? Like, because I've heard your story about what I think your story is, but you might
sure.
Tell us what led up to it's okay not to be okay.
It was really about me fighting to always be positive, to be on top of things, to be there for everybody else. And I think there's a general innate desire in people generally to want to feel good. Right. And to not be depressed and not be sad and not be all of those things. So, and I think there's also a push in society to try to help you not feel bad and not feel sad. They're always there. Oh, what can I do for you? It's been this long. You should be better, whatever it is. And so I was always trying to make sure that I was okay. Not just for me, but for my family, for the boys, for Janice, for everybody else. And then I learned that I was really trying to be okay for me. So whenever I wasn't okay, and as we all know, grief is a roller coaster, right? So sometimes you actually feel really well. You feel okay and you're doing great. But then when you would go down and not feel okay, what's the first thing you do? You try to fight it, right? I'm okay. I'm going to be fine. I'm good enough.
Right.
I'm smart enough. I'm what's his face Smalley from Saturday Night
Oh,
Live.
I'm good enough. I'm smart enough, and
got
doggone it,
people like me. Yeah. Is it David Smalley? Was that his
No,
name?
it's
I can't remember, but that's all right.
Stuart.
Stuart Smalley.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. See, I knew you'd know some stupid
Well, the
trivia
question,
question.
the question that floats to my mind, or whatever, or the observation is, it's when you're doing that, is how you're presenting yourself to the world. You want to present yourself as this confident, I've got it all together,
Right.
person.
Right. You don't want to look weak. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Is
Vulnerable.
We live in a society where you can't show weakness. We've been taught not to show weakness, not to be vulnerable, not to be any. You have to be strong. I got to be a winner, and blah 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 blah. And in the process, everybody loses. And I don't exactly remember when that epiphany hit me. I didn't hear it from anybody. Ironically, now ever since I've been saying it for the last couple of years, I hear it everywhere, which is interesting. But I also think it's one of those things where you don't notice things until you notice them. For instance, when I wanted to buy a Jeep, my first Jeep, I didn't see very many Jeeps around. All of a sudden, I start looking for a Jeep. They're everywhere.
Right.
It's one of those things. So maybe people have been saying it's okay to not be okay for a long time, and I just didn't pay attention to it because I didn't think it applied to me.
It came into your consciousness. It's kind of like I need a new front door. Then all of a sudden you start looking at everybody's front door. You need a roof. That it's the same thing.
Exactly.
It comes into your consciousness, but
it does,
and that happens to everybody at a different rate.
Oh, of course it does, and that's okay.
Right.
It needs to happen at your pace. But I think, it really came to me when I was really fighting it. I mean, I was like holding back tears one night. I was just in a really bad place, and I'm like, I'm not gonna cry. I don't need to cry. I don't need to. I'm gonna go for a walk, or I'm gonna watch this movie. Actually, I think I played darts that night.
That's
which is funny because that's the first thing Janice and I did the night we met.
Well, I was just thinking, aren't darts kind of dangerous if you're in a bad place?
Well, it
could be a weapon, right?
I was at home and nobody was here, so
that it's not sounding good. Okay,
there's no holes. There's no holes in the walls, so that's good.
Okay.
All right. There might have been a few the plastic soft tips that are stuck in the dartboard, but
that seemed to be the thing. That seemed to be the activity that you needed
at that point in time.
Yeah,
that's all I could think of to do. And I realized that I was fighting this, and I didn't know why. I was fighting the depression and that bad night. I was fighting it so hard to not let myself go down there,
right?
To be strong or whatever bullshit. And so, and it was about the time I went to bed, I finally realized, God, I've been fighting this thing for 6 hours today.
What did it feel like?
And I got nowhere.
What did it feel like? This you said this thing, this what did
It was this monkey on my back that was just like choking me and emotionally choking me to make me feel bad and and to make me it was like it was trying to make me depressed, and it was trying to make me remember the worst.
You were depressed.
Well, I was absolutely. I didn't realize it at the time.
Okay.
But and really try to make me remember the worst of the experiences I had when Janice was sick. And I didn't want to, nobody wants to remember those. Nobody wants to sit down and think about those, and so I was fighting it and trying not to really hard. And at the end of the night, I was just like, what did I gain by trying to fight that?
Okay.
Other than I ruined my night. If I'd have been with anybody else, their night would have been ruined too.
Right. Your mood would have been
awful.
Palpable. Okay.
Yeah.
Palpable.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I went to bed and I woke up the next morning and I still felt like crap and still depressed, and I was still thinking about that. And that lasted for 3-4 days.
Wow. That's a long time.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and I finally reached a point where I just sat down, turned the lights off, and didn't think about anything. And tried not to. I wasn't on my phone. I didn't have the TV on. I wasn't playing darts. I didn't go for a bike ride.
No outside stimulus.
None of the things that I normally would have done. And I just sat there and bawled my eyes out for about 40 minutes. I mean, It was a long time. And afterwards, I got up and took a big breath. I went and did a lake lap. So we live here, for those not from Clear Lake. You know, we have Clear Lake, the lake
The
here
lake.
in town. It's about a 14-mile loop to go around it. And, you know, I have friends, we ride it all the time. So I went out and I got on my bike and I did a lake lap. I felt pretty good. You know,
the physicality of doing that. Yeah.
just getting out of the house. Yeah.
Right.
And you know, doing the ride and stuff. And it was while I was riding, I realized, God, if I'd have just done that 3 days ago, I would have felt better.
Right.
Rather than fighting it for 3 or 4 days.
But you didn't know what you didn't know.
I didn't know what I didn't know.
Okay.
Exactly. And that's when it started to kind of hit me. And it's like, you know what? That's normal. It's normal to have those feelings. It's normal to have that visceral reaction. You know, your body does react to your emotions.
When did this happen in relation to Janice's death?
About a year after.
So would you consider that's a rock bottom
Yeah.
kind of moment?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was, that's about when I hit rock bottom.
Okay.
And so I started to realize that that's a normal emotion that I should have.
Right.
It's a normal visceral reaction, a physiological reaction that I should have. Maybe I should let it happen.
And
you know,
and
it's
did.
like you can only hold your pee so long. You know,
guess
you're
that's
laying
one way of
well,
you know.
You ever been laying in bed at night and you're like, oh God, I'm tired. I don't want to get up and pee. I just want to go back to sleep. And you lay there for a while and finally you're like,
Yep.
Nope. It's going to be a problem if I don't go do this right now. And,
Right. Especially if it's winter and it's cold.
Right.
It's like,
oh God, yeah. You know, or it's like, God, if I get up, the dogs are sleeping, they're going to wake up, they're going to want to go outside, then I got to go downstairs and let them out, and I got to go through all of that hassle. If I just lay here and sleep and suffer, you know, and you can do it for a while.
Right, for a while.
You can hold it for a while, but eventually you can't, you know. And I thought that, you know what, this depression and grief bullshit, it's a physiological and emotional reaction that you need to let happen.
Right.
And that's okay.
Right.
And that's when it hit me. Fuck, it's okay to not be okay.
Wow.
And the more I did that, it was a practiced skill. I didn't just all of a sudden go, okay, it's okay to not be okay. I'll not be okay now for this next however long. You know, I still fought because it's a natural reaction. And it's also a habit. You know, I developed a habit of fighting it.
How long did this go on?
So,
I mean, like, okay, you have this release.
Close to a year.
No, but you have this release. You have this.
Mm-hmm.
You let it out. You cried. You've ridden your bike. Then what happened? I mean, because I imagine you did seek professional help at some point.
Eventually, I finally did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But what happened was I practiced being okay with not being okay. You know, I mean, I had to emotionally practice that was okay.
Right.
You know, so that my mind didn't just automatically try to fight it. And what I found was the less I fought it, the quicker I came back out of it. And the less I fought it, the frequency got far and further apart. I didn't have those episodes as often.
The less you fought it.
The less I fought it, the fewer episodes of that really deep depressive grief I had. So they became further apart and they didn't go as far down.
Right. There weren't so many peaks and valleys,
right?
That kind of thing,
so right? And the valleys. I mean, we're talking down mountains,
but more like rolling hills.
Yeah,
you know, it starts evening out.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know, and that's when I kind of realized it's sort of like the and I think I've mentioned this before, the spiraling nosedive airplane. You know, you got an airplane that's in a spiraling nosedive, and what's the initial reaction? Pull against that and get control and pull out of it.
Right.
Well, it's already going so fast and so hard that you got to pull so hard to get pulled back out of that.
Right.
But when they turn into that spiral, they can get control of the plane.
Oh,
and then they can pull back out before they hit the ground.
Okay, I just learned something.
And so I felt that was the same thing for me. When I'm going down, when I'm spiraling down in one of those grief moments,
right?
The harder I pulled against it to pull it out, the faster it spun and the lower it went.
Wow.
But when I just let it be, it's sort of like it finally went, no, all right, it's not affecting you. I don't want
Right.
to
So you
make you depressed
went
anymore.
with it. You went with it, and that somehow worked its way out.
It did.
So at what point did you realize, like, I gotta get help? I've got to get help for this.
Well, it was when I was on the Mason City Fire Department.
Okay.
It was a little over it was a year to the day that Janice died.
Okay.
And I had 2 calls that morning. One was to pick up a patient from the ICU, take him to hospice house, put him down in the same bed that Janice died in. And after I was doing the paperwork, because this person was, they were comatose, right? So they couldn't talk to me. And I really didn't look at the paperwork much during transport.
Right.
Because I didn't need to. And I got back and I realized I knew that person. But I didn't recognize them because they were so emaciated.
Right. They're
from their cancer.
Their illness and
Yeah, from the cancer. And then a couple hours later, we got called to go and do a removal.
Right.
So
the person had passed away at home.
A woman about the same age as Janice passed in her bed from colon cancer.
Oh, wow.
And we pulled up and we got out of the ambulance, took the cot in.
Right.
Got ready. We were just getting ready to package her, that's an EMS term, getting somebody ready for transport regardless of their status.
Right. Because that's wrapping them and making sure they're covered and
in this case, it would have been a body bag and having to put her in that. And as we were getting in the room, getting ready to, some family members came in and they wanted to say goodbye. Okay. So we step out, letting them do that. So we're sitting in the ambulance waiting. And as we're sitting there, like 4 or 5 cars are pulling up and all these people are running in the house. And so I have to watch this family go and say goodbye to their wife, mother, brother, sister,
the person. Yeah.
Yep. Who died from the same thing Janice did. Still didn't affect me. We went back in afterwards.
You still kept your composure. You still kept,
of course I did.
Like an emotional, it was like an emotional distance. You were still able to keep that.
Yeah. Okay. Finished that shift, went home, had a bad night, of course. Then, I crashed hard and I didn't know it was okay to not be okay.
Okay.
Went back, did my next shift. That was fine. Went home, had my 4 days off, and I realized I'm a mess. I've got to get help.
It finally hit you. It soaked in what you were witnessing.
Yep.
You connected.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Finally did. And so thankfully, we had an EAP, Employment Assistance Program. So I was able to get free counseling through that. Good. And so through that process, that's where I figured all that out.
How long did you do counseling?
How long? I don't remember, honestly.
Okay.
It was a few months.
Because I'm an advocate for counseling.
Oh, I am too.
Absolutely.
I am too. And like I've said before, asking for help is not weakness.
No.
Asking for help is weakness. Asking for help is strength.
Yeah.
That's hard to do.
Right.
Real hard to do. Real hard to admit that you need the help. Real hard to go find it. You can feel, so embarrassed and humiliated. And that's not what it is at all. You know what?
If you're a man that has a double, you tough it up. Hey, Buttercup,
right.
You can tough this out.
Right, exactly. But the truth of the matter is, it's a mental illness. It's a version of a medical illness.
Right.
Rather than strep throat that gets fixed with penicillin, this is something you got to go talk to somebody about.
This is your brain.
Yep, it's your brain.
Oh, you just triggered a memory. A friend of mine wrote a book about her daughter's journey through schizophrenia, and she did the hotline. And this woman called in one night, and she wasn't sure what was going on. And my friend, who was the advocate, she said, "If you were having a heart attack, what would you have me do?" "Oh, you'd call the hospital and you'd have the ambulance." "Yes." She goes, "But this is your brain. We need to do the same thing." And I thought that was the best analogy. It's like, yeah, what would we do for a heart attack? We would do XXX, but this is your brain.
Right. Exactly. It's a brain injury.
It is a brain injury.
You can look, however you need to look at it.
Right. But I thought that was the most effective way.
Absolutely. And that's a great point.
And the woman did go get help that way because she understood, like, hey, if I was having a heart attack, this is what we would do. But your brain is having a heart attack.
Right.
Or a brain attack.
A brain attack.
Yeah. But that made sense. And I'd never heard it put like that, but that's true. And people are afraid of that. They'll go in for an ache and a pain, but you've got to go in for your brain.
Yes.
Too.
Look at that. You're a poet and you just don't know it.
Jeez.
You're taking a pain and going for your brain.
That's right.
So anyway, yeah, it's okay to not be okay. And, it's like, I'm not saying that you should just live your life that way. Like, oh, I don't feel okay, so I'm just not going to be okay. Eventually go get help.
Right.
But when you have a little bout with it in an evening or a morning, just let it happen.
Right.
Just let it, at least try it once and see if it works for you. It did for me. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody else, but it's something to try.
Yeah, the counseling thing is really important. I had a guy for years, and he retired on me, and I thought that was very selfish. I'm like, what about me?
Yeah, I could totally see you thinking that was selfish.
Yeah. I mean, it's his retirement, but
I'm like, good for him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Finally gets away from you.
He was funny about it. I said, but he told me that he was going to retire. I said, I jokingly said, but what about me? That type of thing. And he laughed. He knew that I was just kidding.
Yeah,
I do wish him every happiness in his retirement. But the counseling thing, yeah, it's not vulnerable. In fact, I've just myself just started with a counselor.
Okay. Good.
And what I would do with my previous counselor, I didn't have regular appointments with him. I would have like as needed appointments.
Oh, sure.
And I got to the point, I thought he was really good because he would walk me through things. And what made me think he was good was the fact that if I was struggling with something, I would always say, now, if you were saying this to him, what would his response be to you? And if I could not come up with a response,
if you were saying what to who?
Okay, so my previous guy's name is Scott, and so if I had a problem, I would wrestle with it myself. Rod, if you were saying this to Scott, what would Scott tell you?
Okay.
Usually, I could come up with the answer. Like Scott would say this, that, the other thing. But when I couldn't come up with that answer, that's when I made the phone call.
Gotcha.
To get in and say, I'm really stuck on this. I'm really struggling with this. I need you to walk me through it.
Sure.
And so that always worked. A quick story about the one time we had coffee. I didn't know it was not decaffeinated. And an hour later after the session, I could not hold a comb. I could not hold a comb. It was funny. I had the shakes. I'd been decaffeinated.
Yeah.
So, but
just better than decapitated.
Geez, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we always laughed about that. But the counseling.
So did you give a really good haircut when you had the shakes?
I did my very best. I did my best. I tried to hide it. But it was just so funny because it's like,
sorry, I didn't mean to get the tip of your ear.
Why am I shaking like this? And when you've been decaffeinated and you have a cup, and this was good stuff. I mean, it was like ground from the beans.
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
it was really good stuff. Good shit. So anyway, the counseling thing is so important. And I did go for a time after Jeff. I went without a counselor, and I found another counselor. And there are very good counselors in our area, absolutely, that I'd recommend.
Sure.
But
everywhere.
But I have started with a new person. I think it's going to be a good fit, and that's another part of it. Yes, you can have a counselor, but are they going to be a good fit? I did see one young man, and I enjoyed him a lot, but somewhere along the line, I felt that we weren't going to be a good fit. Not that he wasn't a competent counselor.
Right.
I just knew that for what I needed.
People are human and they have personalities.
Right. And I would totally recommend him absolutely every day. But I just knew for what I was needing, that was not a good fit.
Right. So, well, and like medical doctors,
right.
They, counselors and psychologists, psychiatrists, they all have their specialties too.
Right.
So, you got to find one that's experienced in what you've got going on.
Right. Exactly. So the counseling thing is important.
Right. So anyway, it's okay to not be okay, and don't beat yourself up over it.
Exactly.
So anyway, so then we had another topic we wanted to talk about, Rod, and that was touching. Like, don't touch me.
Right.
Mom,
Right.
Mom, he's touching me.
Absolutely.
Don't touch me.
Like, don't touch me. Why this is important. We were at hospice house with Jeff, and right after he died, his family was there. My family was there, but I needed to get away. And anybody that had been in the house, there was a back hallway to the where the restrooms were.
Oh, yeah.
And
I know exactly where that is.
I went back there, and I just lost it. I mean, I sobbed. I was sobbing, but I felt someone touch me, and I went, "Don't touch me." And I looked up, and here it was, the hospice nurse.
Oh,
and she was. I just felt horrible that I've just now barked at this woman.
An inch high.
Oh, I felt. I just said, "I am so sorry. I'm so sorry." And she put a smile on. She was very gracious.
Well, if anybody understood, it was her.
Absolutely. She said, "If this is the worst thing that happens to me today, it's okay." Okay.
Sure.
I do remember looking down the hallway to my left, and I noticed my son was coming around. I think he was trying to check out where he was, but he saw what condition I was in, and he just turned around and went the other way. It's like, I am not messing. I am not messing with that. And, but
he's like, oh no.
No. But the whole, not everybody, when they told us that there was no more for Jeff, like they came in and said, "We've come to the end of treatment."
Sure.
And there's no new drug, there's no new anything. We can manage this, but there's no new. And I remember my reaction to that. I had to get away, and his daughters were there, and they all wanted to hug on me. It's like I had to get away. So I left the hospital. I went outside, and I found behind some bushes in the little courtyard area outside the entrance of the hospital.
Oh, I know where that is.
Yeah. And I sat there. I no one could see me.
Yeah, it's a nice secluded little spot.
It was like a doorway, but they'd left the concrete pad there. And I imagine it was an emergency exit.
Something, yeah.
Yeah. And I just remember being there. I just needed to be alone. I needed to process what had just been told. And we knew that day would come. We knew it.
Right.
But for whatever reason, I just needed to be away from people. And I remember texting Jeff, and I don't know if this has happened with you, Chris, but you start writing things and it just comes. It just comes out so naturally.
Oh, sure.
I wrote him a text, and I just remember telling him how much I loved him in this moment. It was just he needed to know how much I cared and how much I loved him. I absolutely loved this man.
Right.
And it was an indescribable feeling, but he needed to know. And he also
he also knew.
Well, but also knew that I wasn't walking away from him.
Right.
I think he understood why I needed to separate and be away from. Eventually, I reclaimed my senses. I went back up. Did I give hugs? Yes, I did. But in this moment, don't touch me.
Right.
I know some people need that. I'm not that person.
Not everybody does. And I was the same way. When we got the original diagnosis, and Dr. Douchebag decided to tell her while she was still half in the bag from the anesthesia.
I forgot to do the nickname for the doctor. I'm sorry.
Yeah. For those of you who are listening who may not have known the whole story, the quick version is I asked him not to tell her until she was awake enough, and I was there with her, and he told her while I was still coming down the hallway, and I could hear her screaming. So anyway, obviously I hugged her.
Right.
But I didn't want touch from anybody else at that point.
Right.
I did not want to be, and I discovered the further along we went through the process in the illness, the less I wanted to be touched by anybody but her.
Interesting.
Yep. The less I wanted hugs from mother-in-law, the less I wanted them from my mom, from friends.
Right. But you needed them from her.
But from her.
Right.
And I can't explain it. I have no idea why. But I understand that that's a thing for some people. They don't necessarily want you touching them.
It comes into permission because of my work in the funeral home. I do many times ask, "Is it okay if I hug you?" Just for that reason, because I appreciate it when people ask me, "Rod, is it okay if I hug you?"
Sure, but in that situation, you're dealing with people you don't know.
In a way, I mean, well, it was his daughters and his ex.
But when it was Jeff and when it was Janice, we're dealing with people we do know.
Right.
And of course, they want to do that because they don't know what else to do. They don't know what to say. And they think that's the only way they can comfort you.
Right. Is this touch.
And then I think we've talked about it. We even talked about it in the first episode. Sometimes just being in proximity
is
enough.
Yes.
That's perfect sometimes.
Sometimes just holding their hand. I remember...
or just giving me a beer. And then that's perfect.
Well, I remember at the visitation, Nathan, one of the grandkids, was sitting there, and I could just tell he was just off in another land. And I remember taking his hand.
Sure.
Just a simple act of, it's going to be okay. Grandpa's okay.
Right.
And he needed to know that. And I don't, and as men in our society, we don't
right.
do touch. But in this case, this was one of those, it was traumatic enough that I didn't want anybody touching me, but I did feel bad for this hospice nurse, and and even later, I mean, when we left that night, I am so sorry. And she's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I guarantee she's had that before.
She was, yeah. And she was there. And actually I ran into her. She came to a visitation about a year later and she, no, she didn't come, but one of her coworkers. And she said, she wants you to know that to say hello to you. And that was really nice of her.
Right.
And just please tell her, I'm so sorry. Oh, that also brings up a kind of a minor subject too. When Jeff was in the nursing home, this gentleman came in. He was some kind of minister person. And it just struck me absolutely wrong what he did. I did.
Okay.
I kind of was snarky. I mean, I was kind of rude to this gentleman. But as serendipity would have it, about a year later, I'm working a funeral. I struck up a conversation with this gentleman, realized that was the minister.
Oh, man.
It opened the door to tell him, I said, I am so sorry for the way I acted that day. I was incredibly upset about some things. And I said, thank you for being gracious to me. You just need to know I was not myself that day. I really wasn't. Thank you. So we have those opportunities that present themselves to make amends.
Sure.
And they did. But
or you have those opportunities to tell Dr. Douchebag that she died and put him in a cup.
Right.
And I enjoyed that. So if you're not listening or haven't read my book yet, which isn't published yet, so you can't.
Yeah, you should publish that before.
I got to finish it. So I'm close actually. But I ran into him. He came in to check out a gym I was working out at, and I realized it took me a few minutes of just some light, hey, how you doing, to realize it was him. And I brought it up, and he remembered her. How's she doing? She's dead.
What did he say?
Nothing. He just acted like a narcissist who didn't give a shit.
Wow.
That's why he's Dr. Douchebag. But anyway.
But no, the touchy thing at the funeral home.
It's a big deal.
Yes. And in those moments, I just remember, don't touch me.
Right. And I think the best lesson too is, like you said, if you don't know them, ask.
Right.
But also, if you do know them, you need to take a second and make sure that's what's going to make them feel better.
Right.
Because everybody assumes if I know you, that it's okay for me to come up and do this.
Because I'm familiar.
Right. And you know what? Normally it would be. But sometimes, like especially in this case, there were times it just sent not shivers, but like needle points right up my spine when people would touch me.
Conversely to that, before Jeff passed away, I'm going to put a shout out to my friend Mary Beth. There were a lot of people that came in that day, and I don't know what was going on, but I went out into another room off with her, and I remember hugging her, and she was the absolute perfect person for that moment.
Oh, good.
She got me away from things that were happening. I think we laughed. She was just absolutely the perfect. I don't remember everything. I just remember how perfect she was.
Okay.
She brought us flowers. She brought us it was a Valentine's heart full of chocolates. She was giving us her heart, which was neat.
Nice.
And I just remember her being just absolutely perfect.
Good.
I
and that doesn't happen often.
She was just the way she listened, the way we laughed, the story. She just has a wicked sense of
Yeah.
humor that
and she didn't try hard.
no,
You
no,
know, and that's the other thing too. I think is sometimes just don't try so hard.
exactly,
You know,
exactly.
and I get why people want to try hard, and I appreciate that, but sometimes you just don't have to.
Well,
Just
sometimes I think
let
I
it
think
happen
that's
organically.
I think that's something we're going to talk about is what to say and what not to say, and simply in that moment, I'm sorry, and is it okay? I'm sorry, and is it okay? Can I give you a hug? Can I hug on you?
Perfect.
You know.
Yeah.
Have you ever a quick side? Do you ever heard of the Disney hug?
No.
The Disney characters in Disneyland are when a child comes up to them, they do not release the hug until the child does.
Oh.
And I have started practicing that when I hug. I'm not the first to let go.
Oh, okay. That's not where I thought you were going with that. So,
anyway, that's another show, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But no, but
sure,
you know,
that makes sense.
The type of hug is important. So, I got through it. And then people, you know, came to the party a little bit. So.
Sure, awesome. So yeah, so don't touch me.
Don't touch me. Absolutely. You know, Chris, there's one more thing that I think we should talk about tonight.
Okay, what's that?
And I think that's about advocating. Not advocating. I mean, we advocate for ourselves. We advocate for our person. But there's more to it. There's more to advocating than that. Am I right?
Well, yeah. You know, I mean, you have to be your own best advocate.
Okay.
You know, and in this day and age, we tend to just trust the doctors and the experts and just be like, okay, yep, here's what we got to do. And so you do it. And sometimes that's not what's in your best interest.
What do you mean?
Sometimes they take the easy way out, or sometimes they don't want to really go after the real root of the problem. And we had several issues with that. We had a surgeon who told us when she had a blockage, she had a really bad blockage in her bowel.
This is before she had
She had the colostomy.
Okay.
Right. And she
was
was
after that.
Yep. And she was 3 years into the illness.
Right.
Had a urinary tract infection, wound up septic, was real bad. She was Looney Tunes in the hospital.
Right.
Oh my God, because sepsis will do that to you.
Right.
It basically makes you, it sort of makes you act like you're drunk.
Okay.
But worse. She was just, oh my God, I can't even remember half the stuff she was saying to me, and it was hilarious. And I wish I could remember it. But she had a blockage that needed surgery. Okay. And one of the surgeons here said, well, surgery has nothing to offer her. So basically telling us, this is it. Get everybody ready, because she's not going to survive this.
Say your goodbyes, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was just like, and then the hospitalist who was working that night, if I ever see this lady, I'll punch her in the face. She's just, no bedside manner. She was a complete cunt to us. And I don't use that word lightly ever.
Right.
And she was. And she finally looked at me and said, well, you know what? Sometimes you have to have that hard discussion and decide when time is time. And I was like, oh, bitch, don't even. You know, we've been in this long enough. We've had this discussion. We know when it's going to be time. And this is not it.
Okay.
And so I actually went and called the office of the surgeon who put in her colostomy and her power port and did the original tumor dissection, got rid of the tumor.
Right.
And he came and examined her and he's like, oh yeah, we can take care of this.
Wow.
And
what a difference.
And the next day went in, did another bowel resection, saved her life.
And she lived how long after that?
Another 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
They were ready to give up on her?
Yeah, they were ready to give up on her and just be done. And I'm like, no. And it took me a little while to kind of figure that out. But one of the ways I figured that out is at one point when she had cancer in her cervix and her fallopian tubes,
right,
she needed what was called a full pelvic extenturation, meaning go in and not just a hysterectomy, but take out everything from the pelvis that wasn't necessary, and then do a chemo bath, wash the whole inside with chemo, is what she needed. And at that time, they did it at Des Moines Mercy and they did it at University of Iowa hospitals.
Okay.
So our oncologist talked to the oncologist that did this at University of Iowa. And so we went down there for a consultation. So we get there. She goes through a full pelvic examination. So if you're not familiar with what a pelvic examination is, it's very invasive with fingers and tools and all of those things.
Poked and prodded.
They really had to go up into her vagina and everything to see the cancer and figure out what was what, right? And at one point the doctor's like, well, we don't see this very often. Do you mind if I bring in some of the med students? And having been an EMS and been an EMS instructor, I'm always like, yeah, when you have the weird thing come in, you want your students to see it for real.
It's a teaching moment.
Absolutely. So I'm like, yep, come on in. So they come in, and so there's 5 or 6 people in the room, and he's doing a full gynecological, exam on her, very invasive, personally invasive exam on her. We go through the whole thing, we get done, and he comes back to sit down with us, the consultation. He says, I suspect the reason you're here is to get a pelvic extension. And I thought, suspect? You have all of her records. You have everything from her. You spoke to our oncologist. You know that's fucking why we came down here. And then he looks at us and says, I suspect that, but the doctor who does those retired, so we don't do those here anymore. I'm like, you fucking what now?
Wow.
So we had to go all the way down there, take a day off work, spend all the money, have this procedure, invasive, humiliating procedure in front of people done for him to say, oh, we don't do this, even though he fucking knew that they didn't do that. I was numb. I didn't know what to do at that point. So we just went home, and the more I thought about it, the madder I got. And as it turned out, I knew one of the people that's in communications at the University of Iowa Hospital.
Right.
And I called her. I'm like, what do I do about this? I'm really mad. And she's like, oh, you need to talk to the office of the patient experience.
That's the name of the office?
That is the name of the office. So I called the office and told them my story. And 15 minutes later, maybe, I get a call from the vice president in charge of that office.
Okay.
Very apologetic and blah, 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 blah. Right. And so they offered, and I'm like, I'm not paying for this because you knew damn well why we came down here.
Right. Like, the doctors supposedly had communicated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You don't truck nearly 3 hours.
No.
Yeah.
Right. So she's like, oh, no. We won't charge you for this, and we'll send you, we'll cover your gas and your food and blah, 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 blah. Right. That evening, the doctor calls me to apologize. And I just said, you know what? Fuck you. You knew exactly why we were there, and you still went through with that just so you could show your students. Like, don't you ever call me again. And I hung up on him, and I immediately called that vice president because I had her number, and I told him, like, you ever have him contact us again, I'll have you tied up in so much litigation, your grandchildren are going to need lawyers.
Wow.
And I got a call back from her, and she was just apologizing. I'm like, I don't even want your apologies anymore. Just leave us alone, because at that point, I just did not have the wherewithal to go through anything else. She was sick, and, we had to save her life, and that's all I cared about.
That's a huge level of advocacy.
Right. But you have to be your own best advocate. Ask questions. And the more annoyed the doctor gets with the questions, the more you need to ask them, because the more he does not want to answer them or she doesn't want to answer them.
Right.
And
questioning is so important.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I started out that whole process, from her first diagnosis not being that way, and just, whatever you say, and in the beginning it was all working. And so it was, I'm like, okay, well, they're going to save her life and they'll be fine.
So just listen. So finish this.
Okay.
You go through that experience okay. How did it end?
It ended with, we got a check for like $1,000.
No, but with Janice, what happened to her?
Oh, what happened then is, we went to Mercy in Des Moines.
Right.
And they had an amazing gynecological oncology department. Big word for lady cancer, I guess. Sorry, I know that's kind of.
I guess it's better than using the word hoo-hoo.
Yeah, right. Exactly. They had an amazing department down there. Went down there and had the surgery and everything, and it worked.
Wow.
At that point, we didn't know that it was already in the lymph nodes and was going to metastasize in the lungs, but it worked. They did the surgery. They got rid of all the cancer in her pelvis, and all the scans for the first few months came back clean.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's
great. So, those Dr. Christie and, I wish I could remember the other guy's name. I can't remember it. But those guys were wonderful.
The Des Moines guys.
Yeah. Des Moines guys. They were absolutely wonderful,
Wow.
but I went into that asking a ton of questions. And,
I bet you were really prepared at that point.
Oh, I'd done my research and I knew exactly what was going on with this, what this procedure was, what it was supposed to be, what it wasn't supposed to be. But after our first consult, he just kind of looked at me. He's like, really appreciated your questions. So I'm like, we found the right doctor.
How refreshing is that?
Right.
That he didn't mind. You weren't questioning.
I wasn't questioning him and his skills or his abilities. I was questioning what was going to happen, why it was going to happen, and did it need to happen?
Right. He wasn't offended.
No.
He didn't see your questions as a personal attack.
No.
Good.
No, not at all. And I didn't bring him out that way either. But,
Right.
But so
that's amazing. I'm glad you had in this moment you had a very good outcome.
Yeah,
that's important.
We did at that point. Anyway, so anyway, be your own best advocate.
Totally important.
Yep. And while you're doing that, email us and Chris at forwardwellness4caregivers.com for the word for FOR, not the numeral. Let us know. Let us know your stories. Let us know if you have ideas for shows. We're getting a lot of messages from people who really are enjoying it, and some really nice personal messages that are very meaningful.
We're looking for feedback. Absolutely.
Yep,
absolutely. And yes, if they have anything that we should talk about, let us know.
Yeah, because we're not qualified. We're not experts. We're just winging. And today, because shit happens,
we're just
winging. Oh, unsupervised,
we were
unsupervised, and unprepared today.
I think we did all right, though. I think we covered it.
I think we did. So anyway, everybody, thank you for listening, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Until next time. Hey, Chris, I think we had another good show tonight. I think we nailed it. I think we got knocked it right out of the park.
Yeah, Rod, this is our circus and we are our monkeys.
This is so true. I'm really looking forward to the next show. I don't know what we're going to talk about.
I am too, and I thought you were figuring that out, so I guess maybe I'll help you with that.
Let's talk about that. Absolutely. But I'm really looking forward to whatever we talk about. It will be hopefully it'll be helpful. And
it'll be fun.
It will be fun. So yes, as fun as grief can be.
Exactly. So do not miss next week.
No.